Alright, welcome back to Soul Spark Tarot. I'm your host, Mr. Anu, and we got this daily message for you today. With that being said, you can always skip ahead to the actual reading if you don't want to hear the yaps. But without further ado, like, subscribe, share, do all of that fun stuff, and yeah, let's get to yapping. So, what's up, everybody? What's good? What's good? Happy Mercury in retro. Mercury's going retro today. To me, this is I love Mercury in retro because these are the few times where I feel like a regular person. The reason why I say feel, even though Mercury deals with the mind, is because the root aspects of my Mercury is in a spot of a lot of emotions. And in that spot, I was born with it retrograde. So I feel a lot more at home in these situations. But as I've been experiencing life, I'm realizing like when I meditated today, I got deep into that home aspect. And, I had a few epiphanies. It makes me feel weird right now, but that's the whole thing. Like, I know it, I get it, but I've had a lot of anger and frustration pent up. Even though I've been finding outlets to let it go and release it, it's still just, something that's been not necessarily bothering me, but it has been impacting my life. So I'm hoping that we can change that up a little bit. Actually, I'm hoping we can change that shit up a lot. I'm tired of playing small. But at the same time, I know I gotta play small to play big. And so that was one of the epiphanies during my meditation session. Same thing when I did my inner child healing meditation today too. I realized the inner child in me is mad. Is mad at the masculine side, and then my masculine side understands. And so, but it's hurt too because it's like the inner child wants his mom, but it only has his dad. And then it feels like his dad isn't giving him everything that he needs, so he wants his mom. But then that causes him to miss the lessons from the dad being a man. So it's like looking at both sides and trying to balance both sides. It sucks, but the idea is if I had to do that with my own child, and my own child was feeling this way, how would I parent him? And you just got to discipline yourself. And that's it. And discipline, a lot of my old friends didn't like our high school football coaches like sayings and things just because he was a white man and they didn't hit home to them as black men, especially black men from other places. And so they have their experiences of what motivation really sounds like. But for me, he made it very, very clear. And I like those definitions still to this day. So he said to us, my senior year in high school at football camp, our head coach told us discipline is doing what you don't want to do now to get what you want later. Doing the things that you don't want to do right now to get the things that you want later. And I'm going to liken that a little bit more to things that you need. So if I have to teach my son who doesn't want to be with his dad, who misses his mom, who's mad at their dad because he couldn't keep his mom. And he hates the fact that I'm open to losing things, like saying that I don't have ownership or claim over your mom. Then then it makes my son more and more angry. Guess what? The next step is discipline. You got to discipline those emotions a little bit better, son. So let's go over here and do this work on a daily. And I haven't valued my efforts yet, just like my son inside of me or my inner child. Again, talking like I have a child. I don't have children, but the inner child, I have to see it like that because I'm the big adult now, right? Even though the little child inside of me is the one feeling. So because of that, it's easier for me to talk that way when I'm talking about that inner child within myself because I can actually talk to it, opposed to trying to listen and be it at the same time. It's really hard to do that. But outside of that, man, it's going to be a lot of reflection coming up for this retrograde period. And a lot of people don't like this energy. I do, because again, it lets me tap into what I feel is my true essence. I understand music is a way for me to get there, so I've been listening to old music. I'm gonna put this playlist on, this album from Dolo the Pilot Man. Dolo the Pilot Man, Flight Boss. The Archangel, Uriel, baby, whatever. He got a few different aliases, but he's a pretty good spiritual leader, man. He's very unique in his own style, but he's true. I mean, a lot of the things he say are true. And so, pretty controversial dude, but we like that kind of shit around here. And yeah, with that being said, let's get started on our reading. Draco is the album, but the reason why that one is because that one is the one I'm gonna put down there is because of the simple fact that we all come from a different place. And so after meditating and realizing that at the end of the day, we don't want to be separate, but we gotta accept that we're separate. And that's hard, man. Like, again, if it doesn't matter the scenario of how my wife wasn't in the picture during my meditation, my child, regardless, still misses their mom, which tells me I miss my mom. And then again, I'm talking and angry at my dad for not having the skill set to keep my mom and then have a nice whole family. So seeing those parts, man, and how they're separate, that really hurts because again, we crave oneness, we crave wholeness, and that's why a lot of people, I think, are willing to unalive themselves because again, there's so much displacement between who they are, what they are, the connections in the world, the connections within their own selves. There's so much disconnect that I think a person would rather go back to the true oneness instead of be here. So as we're thinking and pondering these statements, I want us to really try to give each other some grace because a lot of us do not even understand the things that they're going through. And that should tell you how little that people understand each other. And so as we're trying to understand ourselves, as we're trying to understand others, we gotta know that at the end of the day, the space in between is what brings us together and makes us the same. And accepting that space in between is difficult, Because sometimes you need to stop, sometimes you need to go. Sometimes you need to do this, sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you need to do what you need to do, sometimes you need to do what you know you do. Sometimes you need to find something new, sometimes you need to try some shit that you don't know how to try. And it sucks because a lot of the difference, a lot of the duality, a lot of your spiritual teachers talk about being one, but they don't speak on how to reconcile the different parts of you into the one. Again, mathematically speaking, they don't know how to compile all the fractions together. They don't know how to put all the pieces together. And there's certain things that you can do. Certain things that you can do. You can tap into your subconscious. The subconscious mind is something that a lot of us want to do. Subconscious mind is something that a lot of us want to tap into. But the subconscious mind is background. And because it's background, it's all the things that you do consciously that programs that background information. If I look ahead, that's going to be programming the background behind me. If I look to the left, that's going to program, y'all can't even see me. So if I look to the left, that's going to program everything behind me on the right. If I look to the right, it's going to program everything behind me on the left. So as we're looking at programming these things, we got to start really realizing that the programs within us are based upon the actions that we're taking. Again, the life you live is the life you create. It's not necessarily just your thoughts, because your thoughts come and go. It's the thoughts that you choose to enact inside the world. So as we're balancing all of these different aspects of ourselves, all of these things that we do and we don't want to do, we got to start to take note of the things that are just happening. The things that are just happening create the opportunities for us to step into. And once we step into these happenings or these happening spaces, it allows us to really see things from a new point of view. So I got all emotional today because I was watching this video on Instagram, and this young lady tried to do a gender reveal for her hubby or whatever, and she fucked up. She made a cake and it was supposed to be blue, but the cake on the inside ended up being green. And the dude was like, "What the fuck is this? What does this mean?" And as he was like tripping, she was like, "Oh my God, I fucked up." And she started crying and whatnot. And he consoled her like in a very nice way. And then he came after she calmed down. He gave her a nice plan. And then he was like, "Okay, well, there's blueberries and strawberries on here. So because that's similar to like the blue and the pink, what I want you to do is I'm gonna close my eyes. And then you choose whichever one, and then you feed it to me." And so he did that, and as soon as she put the blueberry in his mouth, he was like, and got so excited, and his reaction made me really appreciate her reaction. She was so distraught because she just tried to do something to make it happy and perfect, but it fucked up. But then he came over and saved the day, and then she gave him a blessing, which they were having a boy. And so to me, that's like, I want that energy, that balance within me, because that is a healthy dynamic for the child to see and experience, which means that I think the children who do have those two-parent households who can see that love in the exchange, I think that that would help them accept more dualistic parts of themselves. Now, a lot of this comes from the simple fact that most of us in this world are unsecurely attached. And I say unsecurely attached first because that leads you to all your other attachment styles. But when you're securely attached to a foundation, which means that you're rooted and you're grounded into some kind of polarity. You are grounded in dualistic aspects. That means you are firmly built on have a temperance. boom, half of it's water, half of it's beach kind of thing. And you got both sides and you're building up your house on both sides. And that's what it means to be securely attached. You're securely attached not to just a something, you're securely attached to multiple things. And I think that's the biggest key factor that we got to understand during this retro. Walk away from the things that transform you into separation and walk towards the things that separate and transform you into singularities. All right, so one thing I'm also probably going to end up doing is making, I don't know, I think I'm going to embrace TikTok a little bit more and just allow myself to teach. I think a lot of people want to hear certain things, but I made a post the other day about like these houses and shit that I be telling y'all about. And you know, that shit has like 700 views and like 10 comments. I'm like, damn, when people like bullshit, I hate that. There's so many more important things, but people want to just jump on and, you know, tell me that these big ass luxury houses aren't as luxury as they look like. And, you know, give their complaints. And that's cool. I want to hear that shit. But I would rather hear it on videos that mean something. So, but again, to practice being a dual entity, grounded and securely attached in both sides, I can joke and have fun and put crap on the internet just like other people, and then I can put out some real shit too. And I guess that's how probably people see me as a teacher in the classroom. You know, I'm always joking and laughing, having fun, but we getting down and doing work too. So I have enough examples in this world for my own self to see that these things are true, and they really they influence a lot of people in a healthy way. It's just trying to embed that same energy within me as the person exuding that. I am the bridge in that situation. So I got to find the bridge within myself for my own situation, because there's clearly a feminine energy that is missing within me in the way that it should be. And the reason why I say that is because I've been really reflecting over the last couple of days, man. It's like, yeah, I can do what I need to do for myself as a man, but I'm not doing enough, you know, for the women in my life. And that's because when I was a young man, I used to do all the things that I possibly could for the women in my life, but there was no men in my life to help me put a boundary on that stuff. And so because I have no boundaries in that regard as a young man, now I have a damn near disregard for that shit as an adult man. And it's not that I don't want to, you know, cultivate relationships with feminine people. Again, I say people because whether you're a man or a female, male or female, it doesn't matter. It's the same energy exuded, and we should have varieties within those aspects anyway. But it's just, it's hard, man, when you want to do things on your own. Again, the masculine side. And it's hard because you don't want to be responsible for things that aren't you. Again, another fucking heavy masculine side. Look at that. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's enough of this yapping. Damn, this is the whole yap session. I think I'm going to just leave this as the yap. So, all right, I appreciate y'all for being here. When we come back, we're going to get our reading going. So, all right. Peace. Peace.